My name's Dave Spooner. I'm with the Woodland Woodcarvers in Whittling Time. So I'd like to start out with this is, I call it grab and go. I like to take and I've got like a little bag that if I want to carve something and I want to go light, I don't want to take my tools with me, and I just want to take a knife. Say you want to sit on the deck, you want to go to the beach, you want to do what, but you don't want to take a whole bag of tools with you. So I figured if you could do something with just a regular knife. So I've got a variety of different projects I do. That's some of the effect that I've got. About what I do first is I do a little prep before. I'll cut something out on a bandsaw. So there's some shop work to do before and maybe some shop work to do afterwards. But a good example is a dog, just like this. And well, in this particular case, to be able to get the thickness, I actually took two pieces of wood together and then laminated them together. It's a little cheaper than trying to find that solid piece that doesn't split on you. So I start out with that, and then once I get that part, I take and I mark off all the pieces that I can remove, all the big pieces. For example, like the tail, I'll mark off what I'm going to cut out on each side of the tail. Like the legs, I'll take half of these legs off here, and what I'll do is I take a saw cut right down the center to separate the legs here, and then on the one side I'll take these legs out and that part of the tail, and then on this side I take these legs out, and actually what you can do is do a stop cut down to it until you get that full leg out. So once you get that leg out, it's a little like this. And that. So once you get down to that point, you can take your knife. I call this a detail knife, and there's a lot of different variations of knives. You got the detail knife, you've got another one that you can use for roughing. And there's even different sizes of detailed knives that you can use. So I like a detail knife, a stout one. You've got some that are really small and delicate, but this one's for me, it's a little bit multifunctional because you can use it as roughing and that. So I like to take a lot of stop cuts right in there, and then on your carvings you got like a high point and a low point, and usually if you go with that concept all the way straight through, if you notice I got like a little pencil line right up through here. He's the center of the leg, and that, and then right here, about the center of the body, like here, and that. So if we do a stop cut, and then cut right down to the back of the leg from the belly, go on the other side, and you keep on with those stop cuts as you go down. And what I like to do too is, if you noticed, I'll hold my knife like that, and then a lot of times I'll take and hold my thumb on the other side and kind of help guide it through, so it helps leverage that for you, and it makes it a little bit easier to be able to control because you're holding it like this and that, and you want to kind of shave it. It's almost like you're making your hands almost like a wood plane. And just keep carving down. Oh, I think I just made him into a girl. So we're just going into the belly. And you see I'm kind of removing those saw marks from the bandsaw. And then I'll change it up here. And I want to just go down in this phase of it, go down to the collar. And sometimes you got to watch your grain, because your grain will change. So then you got to change the direction of where you're cutting. And I think I got Band-Aids in my box there just in case. Every good wood carver's got a good supply of Band-Aids. All different shapes. And then there's another cut you can use like you're carving an apple. And we're going to the center of the dog. And this particular carving I just call in the round. And I've got some other ones that I do that are kind of, I'm out on a sacrificial board, and I call those my high relief. I do a stop cut again here, right around the collar. And you see there I got that line marked with his paw. See, I got my other thumb in the back here where I'm kind of leveraging off. Another stop cut. Yeah, I think I need to go the other way. And again, I'm pushing off. And then I'll round off the rest of this front leg. Get the back side of his little paw. Go to his back side. Put my thumb on the other side of his tail so I don't. And again, I'm looking at my center line. And I got my center line here. So it's like you're doing it in quarters. That way you kind of keep your symmetry in check. And again, watch your grain, deepen that stop cut. And then I'll round off the back side. Give him a better rear end so the other dogs knows where he's at. You gotta watch that grain, it kind of changes with the curve of your cut. So we got down to the collar. Now we'll see if we can start on the head. And again, we'll go back to the collar from the head. As you see, I've got this all marked off on a lot of the wood that I need to remove up in that point. And a lot of that is around your ears. And I'm going to take this off right here. And I've got it all marked on what I'm going to take off. I don't want to cut his nose off. He wouldn't be too happy about that. And again, I do the stop cut behind the ear because, of course, his ear is going to protrude out. And just go back to the stop cut. Just look at my line. Again, I'm going to use my thumb to push off from. And that seems to give me better control. And got it cut off to that point. And then we got to kind of round his snout out. little bit. Kind of try to match the other side. Here's his nose. And kind of flip him around a little bit so you can see his face. And I'm going to cut a little trough here. We want to just kind of curl the knife a little bit. Yeah, grab the other one. Just grabbing a sharper one. Just kind of give them a little bit of a snout. And a little bit of the eyebrow. Give them that goofy look. Kind of work towards the center. Again, up towards the top of the head. Kind of actuating his ear there. And a narrow part of his collar. Kind of give him that little bit on the eye. Shape his ear back a little bit. And then after you go through there and you kind of fine tune your cuts, he'll come out like that. Or you can change his expressions, whatever you want, you know. And it also makes a difference if you take in, this is made out of, just stock that's just a little bit under 2 inches. Now this is made out of one, a little over 1 inch. So you can see the difference, same pattern and everything, but you can see how they come out different, you know, in the same method and everything in that. So that'll, that is a good example of doing something in the round. When you have your little projects in your bag, you know, that's like the cane handles and all that. I do on the run if I'm at leisure somewhere where I just want to take a knife, I'll save that maybe portion for that. And then, of course, also at the end there, if you want to do some wood burning and all that, that's another good activity you can do while you're watching TV or if you want to do some texturing. Now, another example of, we'll say, if you got a delicate piece you want to do, and it's just a knife, and a lot of times it's good to mount it on a sacrificial piece, because if you got something that's really delicate, it's easy to break it because you're always maybe trying to hold on one of the pieces, and sure enough, it'll have a tendency to break. So with this, I cut it out with a bandsaw, you know, of course, with my pattern on there, and then just apply to a piece of wood. Now, sometimes if I get something really small where you can't get a screw in it, sometimes I'll use a double stick piece of tape and that seems to work out. But again, just like anything else, you'll use your stop cuts. So in a case like that, my stop cut, I brought another frog just in case this breaks. And then carve down to it. Take a little sliver out. Little sliver. Take down to it. And then here, stop cut, which is the body to the leg, to the one leg. Yeah, and going to the front leg. And that. Go really deep on that one. So I'll do another stop cut and then take the body here. You can see I got my center line already in there in the pattern. And then this leg is out this way, farther away from the pattern. So that one you can cut out. You take a lot of meat away from that one. And this is where you got to be careful because this. And grain orientation is really, really important. Like with the dog, you want your grains running this way with the legs. Because if you had it running this way, your legs would have a tendency to break off really easy while you're carving them. Same way with the tail. Now with this one, I've got the grain running with the legs. So it's a little harder for them to break. Although, it's still easy to break on something this tiny. And round that off. And with my eye, I just kind of figure the center, and I'm going to the center of the leg. Using that stop cut there. Carve down. And carve over here. And again, I'm pushing off. Yeah. And then kind of carving down like that. A little bit on the side. Yep. Make sure I don't want to.
David, can you explain what it is that you're doing?
That's a frog.
Oh,
Or a gecko. We could call it a gecko too. Probably looks more like a gecko. again. And carve down there to clean that up. And clean up the body a little bit. My high spot. Now, there's a little head. And then with the eye, sometimes what you can do, you can take a nail set instead of an expensive eye punch and put in the eye. And as you can see, I broke it. So I got another frog. And so it's a matter of just kind of cleaning up our cuts. Dirty little stinker. I think and there we go. And then like that, if you want to give them a little bit more detail, then you can unscrew them and then kind of round off the bottom of the body. Right there. There is a lot of difference in, there's a lot to using the right knife. Good example is you've got detailed knives, you got some that roughed it out, rough your work out, and I just showed a couple of examples there. Now there are such too is you've got chip carving knives, and a chip carving knife is designed for that specific kind of work. And actually, it's just like what it says, it's chip carving. And it's just a matter of, you've got some basic cuts, you got like a triangular cut that you use it, and the reason why it's shaped the way it is, it's designed where you can hold the knife at approximately 65-degree angle and go down, and again, all you're doing is you're creating a chip in a triangular motion. Just like that. Now, you can come out, I highlighted this with a real fine tip magic marker. Normally you don't want to use a magic marker when you do your carvings because you'll never get them out. they seem to kind of stain it. But I just kind of highlighted that to show what you can do with those chips. And you come out with a design that's like you can do a border, or when it comes down to this particular one is a unicorn. And there's all kinds of exotic patterns you get with chip carving. This really looks like a lot of detail. You got a lot of chips in there. But something like this, you've got just some basic moves. Another basic cut is like you got an oval or an elliptical, just like that. For example, to cut that border out, you got that chip right there. One thing there, you need a good fluid cut. Right there. Yeah, you need a good fluid cut, just like that. And you can show a lot of detail. And the more experienced you get with it, you can really get fancy with your curves. Right there. And all that. And this would be the end result. And again, I just kind of highlighted those areas, but normally you'd never use a magic marker on your piece because you'd never get it out. But for the sake of illustration, that way it's kind of simple. It's a real good starter pattern for anybody that wants to start chip carving and all that. And we've got what I like to do when I take a piece and I put it on a sacrificial piece of wood, and I want to do a relief carving and apply it. These are a couple of good examples. This piece I did on a sacrificial piece of wood, carved it out, same way with this. This bottom piece also, and then laminated it all together with the same kind of background. This one right here, now the angel. This is a good example here. I've got this angel. I applied it and then cut the wings in on the background. So there's a lot that you can do with just a knife. And but again, you do your preparation in the workshop, and then at the end, whether you got to do some texturing, some painting, or whatever after the fact. And I think with that, that should end our presentation. Thank you very much.